Hi, in this video we're gonna be doing the UV mapping of our character. But if you don't know what that is, UV mapping refers to the process of projecting a 2D image texture onto a 3D model surface, which is going to be make things easier in the future for creating a stylized texture, having a nice look at the end. It is basically just that, turning something 2D into 3D and vice versa. And now we have to create it. It's kinda simple, so let's start. So let's start. I'm gonna be using just the mesh of the body, and here in my left side you can see that I have some images that I'm gonna be using as references for the lines of the whole body. So let's get straight to it. I'm gonna be pressing tab to go into the edit mode, and I'm gonna be pressing 2 so I can be using the wires selection. I'm gonna start by the feet, and I'm gonna be using this as a reference. So I'm gonna be selecting this whole bottom loop by pressing Alt and then this little loop right here. And it's still holding Alt, I'm gonna press Shift and select this other part of the loop. And same thing for the back part, Alt, Shift, click. So we have this bottom selected. I'm using the mirror modifier, so everything we do this side is going to be happening to the other side. And to create a mark like this red one, we have to press U and then mark seam. Now we have marked the seam because this is going to be the seam of the whole mesh. So this is the first part. Here we can see that we have something around the ankles. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna select the whole loop by pressing Alt and see if it's everything selected. It is. I'm gonna press the letter U and then mark seam. And we can see that we have a loop around here that goes all the way up to the butts of the character. So I'm gonna be selecting the whole one of these loops. I think this one is gonna be enough. Gotta see where it goes. And using this view as a reference, we see that the line doesn't go all the way up to this part. It just goes until around here and then it stops. So for that, I'm gonna be doing something different. I'm gonna be selecting this little edge right here, and I'm gonna be pressing Shift, Ctrl, and come all the way down like this. So we're gonna be having a whole line selected. This whole segment, this whole segment is selected, and we can press U to mark the seam just like in the reference. So U, mark seam. We can see that there is another marking around here. We're going to be doing the same thing. But in this case, we can just press Alt around the loop. So Alt, it is supposed to be completely selected. It is. And now I'm going to be pressing U, mark seam. And this is going to be basically the whole process of this part. Here we can see that we have some other marks around here. So I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be using this area here to mark. U, mark seam. Let me see from the front view. We don't have any marking in the front views, but we have this middle loop that covers all the middle loop of the entire body of this little part of the torso, neck, and head. So we're gonna be selecting this entire loop just by pressing Alt, and it is automatically fully selected. So I'm gonna be pressing U and mark seam. I'm gonna be seeing the head now. So I'm gonna be using this as a reference. And we can see that we have one marking around the eyes. So we're gonna be doing the same thing. Select the whole loop by pressing Alt and then the edge. U, mark seam. We have the same thing around the holes of the nose. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna select this one here instead of this one. U, mark seam. We have one right here in the mouth. So I'm gonna be selecting this. U, mark seam. I also noticed that I have marked the ears around here and a bit inside. So we're gonna be doing the same thing. Select one part of the ear. And I think I'm gonna be selecting this loop right here. Yep. I'm gonna press U, mark seam, and this other loop around here inside the ear. So I selected this entire loop and I'm gonna be pressing U, mark seam. And now for the arms, I'm gonna be using this as a reference. So we can see that it's marked around the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and there's a middle line following all the way down here. And I'm gonna be doing the same thing. I'm gonna select an entire loop, this one right here. It is fully selected. I'm gonna press U, mark scene. Same thing for the elbows, U, mark scene. And same thing for the wrists. And now there's a middle line right here that comes all the way down to the wrist. There's a little mistake right here that this mod is from last year, 2023 November, and I still didn't know much about the UV mapping, but I shouldn't have marked this little part. And we're not gonna be doing that in the hand of this part here of the new model. So I'm gonna be selecting just this part here of this model, just like we did with the legs. Select one, Shift Control all the way down, and then U, mark seam. Now for the hands, we can see that there's a loop around the thumb, so I'm gonna be selecting one loop here and doing the same thing. This one too, U, mark seam. And we can see that some lines around here follow all the way of the flow of the fingers, and we're gonna be doing that. It's gonna be a bit complicated, I think, but we just gotta have to select the loops, make sure they align, and have a nice following, like a nice flow. This one is kind of broken because it shouldn't be going up here, so I'm gonna be doing different. I'm gonna select this edge and come all the way down here. And let me just check here in the reference. Yep, that's it. So for this part, I'm gonna be pressing U, mark scene, and it's gonna be the same thing for the rest of the fingers. So this is it for the hands, and I believe that we are finished with the whole UV mapping of the whole body. I said it is really simple, so this is probably all. I'm gonna be turning on the mirror modifier, and we can see that everything is mirroring to the other side. And here, to show you how this is going to be working, I'm on the UV editing window, and I have the mesh of our character here, and the UV editing area right here. I'm gonna be selecting A to select all the mesh of the character, and I'm gonna be pressing U and unwrap. We can see that we have a nice flow of the unwrapping of our character, because in the future we're gonna be painting the texture of our character based on this. You can select the areas of the mesh and rotate them, rescale, and move around to make things more organized. So I'm gonna be doing that just to make things a bit more organized and a bit better looking. You can do the same, I recommend you to do it. So this is the best way I've found to organize my model's UV mapping. It is looking like this. And in the future, it's going to be having an image down all of this. And we're going to be painting it, like details for around the cheeks, chest, around the hands, and the entire body. It's going to be a nice texture, at least my style. If your style doesn't have it, I think you can skip this video, I'm not sure. But we are basically finished. That's all for this video, and this is the final UV mapping separation of the character. And that's all for this video. We are done with the UV mapping process, and in the next video we can start creating a texture. It is gonna be just a basic texture, but we can start giving colors and artistic stuff to the model. I hope this video was useful and easy to understand. If you had any problems, you can comment down here. I'm gonna be trying to answer you. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, make sure to see the next videos. We are getting closer to the end. And thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye.